Okay, I think we're ready to go here. First off, thank you so much. And I have an envelope here with my name on it. I'm just going to open it up. And it is a gift from Dream Vacations, and it's a check to R.O.C.K. They had made a commitment. Steve, where are you? Where'd you sit down? Oh, so as a little surprise, this was left for me today. I wasn't really probably supposed to make a public announcement, but I heard that this was happening. So thank you. This is a very generous check. And the story that Steve just told me was that they wanted to do a percentage of the trips that got booked to nonprofits, and they had chosen R.O.C.K for some gifts, and so many trips have been canceled. So this is from Steve and the company, just privately for a gift to R.O.C.K. So I just want to honor you and say thank you. So, hopefully things will change in the travel world. I am very, very honored to be here. I cannot even tell you. I feel very vulnerable because I think this is a major topic. Collaboration is needed right now in our world, probably more than ever. Maybe not more than it's ever been needed, but it is definitely needed now. So I believe this is a serious topic, and so I feel very vulnerable. I'm hoping I have enough courage to say the things I feel like I need to say. I'm trying to choose courage over comfort today. But stronger than my vulnerability is my gratefulness, because I feel so grateful to live in a community where we can have uncomfortable conversations to make Georgetown a better place. Uncomfortable conversations to make our family a better place, our schools better, our city, our county, our state, our nation, and our world. Every morning when I drink coffee, I have a little globe that sits next to the coffee pot. And when you turn the light on, it starts moving. And Frank has put a little tiny person on the top of the globe. But it just reminds me of how we're all connected globally. And so it starts with each one of us. This is a little more serious topic to me than normal, so I have written more notes. I tend to be a little bit ad-lib, so I hope that you'll forgive me as I look at my notes more today. I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I moved to Georgetown in 1994, October 4th, 1994. I remember the day. And I'm married to Frank Krenek, and we have a blended family of 7 children, 7 grandchildren, and a lovely therapy dog called Supercala. Frank named her Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and we call her Supercala. I love the work that I do, and when I'm not working, I'm studying Spanish. Please do not test me today on that. And I work on pottery and watercolor, and I am a river person. I am either down at the San Gabriel River or the Lana River near Mason, Texas. Those are my hangouts. So to start off in our discussion about collaboration, I'm going to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like you to focus on the flag here, but I'd like you to listen to the words, really listen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I wanted to bring our pledge up because I love our flag. I love our pledge, and I think our Declaration of Independence and Constitution is a great example of collaboration. And I believe that part with liberty and justice for all is one of the reasons I'm here to talk today. A few definitions of collaboration. When a group of folks come together and contribute their expertise for the benefit of a shared objective, project, or mission. To collaborate is actually a learned skill. My husband Frank says that collaboration is when people come together with different abilities to create or build something. He's a builder, that's why he says that. And you have to be honest and trustworthy. George Brightwell states that for collaboration to be successful, the parties must learn to be vulnerable to the strengths of others. Those with greater strengths must learn to not overpower those with lesser strengths. Notice he doesn't use the word weakness. Secondly, in this time of COVID-19, we are called to remember that even though we are separated, we are not separate. That then calls for greater collaboration, even at the level of holding the door open for someone at the post office, which should happen anytime, anyway. Spoken by George Broadwell. Brene Brown says collaboration requires daring leadership from everyone on the team. It means having tough conversations, staying curious, and learning how to listen. Collaboration is always tough. It requires a lot of rumbles, circlebacks, constantly utilizing the powerful tool of the story I'm telling myself. And when you can stay brave, it produces something that is more powerful than you would ever do alone. When true collaboration happens, everyone gains value. Ron Swain states that he thinks of Psalms 133 when he talks about collaboration. One interpretation of this verse is, quote, "Oh, how good it is for children to play together." The mindset is that it's we or us, not I or me. Getting to this concept is a challenge in our self-centered world, me-focused culture. Collaboration is based on the idea of a purpose, mission-centered, or focused on the well-being of others, i.e., loving our neighbors. Collaboration for me is working together for the benefit of all, and as Ron Swain says, all means all. When asked to give a few points for this talk, I listed them as collaboration during COVID, social justice and politics, collaboration in nature and spirit. I'm going to change my slide. And collaboration starts with one. But first, I'd like to tell you a little bit about my journey. My journey here in Georgetown, looking back, seems to be just full of collaborations, and I'd like to share those with you. When I had a dream of starting R.O.C.K in 1998, I worked for Stephanie Blank. I was a physical therapist in the Georgetown Independent School District, and I went to her to tell her I was resigning to start R.O.C.K. I told her that someday I wanted GISD to bring their students to R.O.C.K on a bus to connect with the horse. Stephanie helped me, and through the years, we both saw this dream come true, which continues to this day. That is an example of collaboration. We needed a horse. The horse came from Joy Alexander. She said she had the perfect horse, Miss Prissy Texan. Isn't that a great name? Little did I know that I truly didn't know very much about horses. However, I was a willing student, and Miss Prissy Texan and Joy taught me. Another example of collaboration. The next thing was we didn't have any land. I felt in my heart that the land on County Road 110 with the for sale sign was the land that we were supposed to have. And so the problem was I did not have the $160,000 to buy the 20 acres. After a beautiful story was written by the Williamson County Sun in the fall of 1998, collaboration, the Brightwells read the story, we had tea, and they gave the land to R.O.C.K. Collaboration at its best. The work we do at R.O.C.K is an example of collaboration. I work to help support a civil rights law. In 1990, the American Disabilities Act was passed, which was written to extend our civil rights laws that happened in the 60s. It is to help people with special needs and make sure they have liberty and justice for all. Diversity is our job. We work with children, adults, and veterans who have come to R.O.C.K to partner with the horse for different motivations. Mainly the individuals who come attend for pure delight of the amazing 1,000-pound animals that we work with. They will let you touch their face. This diversity in the industry I work with sees people with autism, our largest population, and then development delay, attention deficit disorder, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, emotional, behavioral, and mental health issues, PTSD, neurotypical challenges like muscular dystrophy and multiple sclerosis, strokes, head injuries, and it also works to improve their independence and life skills, our mission at R.O.C.K. Again, liberty and justice for all. The individuals that we have the privilege to work with are different than me. Just as my blended family, we are all very different from each other, but all equally important to make up our family, despite our backgrounds and differences. The largest portion of folks we work with are children. Over 1/2 of all who come to R.O.C.K. are children. Plus, we work with over 450 volunteers. We call them Rocketeers. And last year, over 150 of those volunteers were youth. Easily, we work with 400 youth a year. In my world, we want it to be people that don't hush or have children be quiet, but help them figure out ways to make connections to open doors and potential in their life. The horse is an amazing connection. Whether your challenge is tight muscles, social skills, balance, fine or gross motor skills, visual impairment, speech delay, anxiety, depression, or wanting to learn leadership and group dynamics, the connection with the horse is a teacher, and it helps improve these challenges. So back to the journey. In 2005, the cavalry from Fort Hood called, and they had received a request from BAMC in San Antonio, which is now called SAMC, for the Cavalry Equine Detachment at Fort Hood to come to San Antonio and help put soldiers on horses that had lost their arms and legs. Fort Hood called and asked if we would help them. We helped train the soldiers in the cavalry at Fort Hood and helped them choose the right horses. And this was the beginning of one of the very first movements in our nation to serve veterans. All because Fort Hood called and asked us to collaborate with them. It was filmed by local Joe McSpadden and shared nationally. And I believe that video and getting the word out and having training started has saved more lives. We will never know how many lives have been saved by the connection with the horse and the programs that have started nationwide. Another form of collaboration. Later, R.O.C.K. received a phone call from A&M in 2010 to help start a similar program in College Station at Texas A&M. We were asked to partner with the Corps of Cadets, Parsons Mounted Cavalry Horses. At College Station, we see children, adults, and veterans, and work with those cavalry horses, which are amazing. 3 years ago, we were asked to teach a class at the School of Veterinary Medicine called Introduction to Equine-Assisted Activities. And the Aggie students that take the class, they get to work in the program that's a lab that we started, where we see children, adults, and veterans with the horses. Hopefully this fall, everything will go well, and it will open up and we can continue. Again, collaboration. As R.O.C.K. grew, it became a very dynamic puzzle, as seen by this next slide. I created this drawing, which I don't know if you can quite see it, to help explain to our staff why we needed to really communicate it and work together well. At the bottom is a handshake representing our board of directors. As they lift me up, I'm the little person right there at the bottom, and that's me juggling. And my job is to help hold up the organization in the position that I'm in now. And that is held up by our core values of excellence, safety, integrity, compassion, and honor. Thank you. Those cogs that you see in the middle represent our strategic plan. It represents our communication, the horses, the people that work at R.O.C.K, the staff and volunteers, represents the finance, the horses, the barn, the land, and also the research and education that we do. You can tell by those cogs that if one of them moves, it affects everybody. And all of us together are helping to lift up our mission and vision to make everything happen. So this is just an illustration because it's easy in any organization, and especially ours, to work in silos with that many moving pieces. And so we have worked really hard to realize that every single thing we do affects everything else. And this last year we got walkie-talkies. That also helped as well. So anyway, and then This was part of the journey. And then, Bob didn't know I was going to do this, but then Vic Figuarelli and Bob Novello got involved in R.O.C.K, and they started coaching R.O.C.K how to do the Baldrige assessment. And it was really, really hard in the beginning because I did not know any concepts about any of this. And so this slide just represents, for those of you who don't know much about the Baldrige assessment, there are, you work on strategy, leadership, and customers, and then workforce operations, and the end result is results or impact. This is just a little slide to give you an idea of how the Institute and also Quality Texas has helped coach us. And in the state of Texas, there's 5 levels. R.O.C.K has made it to the 3rd level. But I would like to give a shout out right now to Barry Lang, our Georgetown Chamber president, and his team, Radiation Detection Service, because they've won the highest level you can win in the state of Texas. And they've been consistent and steadfast in their journey for working on excellence. So congratulations to Barry and Radiation Detection Service. They're big role models for our organization in benchmarking. When they improve in efficiency, everything improves. And again, collaboration is what is the result of that slide that you see. In sharing my journey with R.O.C.K, you can see all the different beautiful pieces of connection. And now we're at today. So I have gone through what most of you have gone through during this last 5 months. And yes, it's been 5 months. Kat mentioned 22 weeks. Is that that this journey we have all been on? And so when it first happened, like many of you, I was trying to stay balanced as I led. This picture demonstrates kind of how I thought balancing was, and it was, I got a piece of information and I stacked it on top of another piece of information. Then I got another piece of information and stacked it on top of that. As I tried to figure out what we did as an organization, what that meant for my family, what it meant for my life. This picture illustrates how that kind of philosophy did not work at all. Those rocks started falling pretty quickly. The next slide demonstrates to me how it really is in this journey that we're on. I have been picturing the last 5 months a high wire, and I'm going to explain a little bit more about that. But during this season of COVID, with all the fear and loneliness and emotions that this brought up, which continues to today, and then the death of George Floyd, which opened up another layer of awareness for all of us in deciding things about civil rights, and then our current political atmosphere, I have felt I have been on a high wire, doing some sort of balancing act. My observation and experience of the last months is that there are many, many struggles with this journey that we are on. Despite where any of us sit on this high wire between mass and no mass, Republican and Democrats, and racial conversations, collaboration, in my opinion, is the key. I think of this word as working together, fairly simple. There has never been a time in our history where we are more divided in so many areas and more needing to collaborate. It is now. If not now, then when? I believe this is our time. You may disagree with me on what the 2 extremes are on any high wire that I just mentioned. However, my point is this: we need each other no matter where we stand on this tightrope to heal and improve the COVID situation, racial injustice, and the election of our government leaders. During this season, we may or may not have the accurate facts. However, more than ever, it appears people are speaking, and we have the opportunity to listen. In my mind, this means more individuals are possibly at the table or in the conversation. As uncomfortable as this may be for all of us, this uncomfortableness might be the very collaboration that will heal us in our families, businesses, cities, counties, state, and nation. I have found that the past 5 months have been the most intense work I have done in my job the last 22 years at R.O.C.K. I am not sure how running a nonprofit and caring for a family and seemingly not always having to drive out to the horses has been so much work. However, the stakes have been so high as so many things have been unsure and people have never seemed so fragile and vulnerable. It has required strategic steps on every mood, similar to trying to balance on this tightrope. Methodically footing and decisions have been the key. Nothing has seemed completely clear or definite. So back to collaboration. More than ever, even during this season of unrest, we need each other. And collaboration is dynamic and moving and swaying. One example of amazing collaboration is as we started writing our policies for COVID of how to open and how to take care of our staff and make decisions about how to take care of Rocketeers and then our families. We reached out in multiple different conversations, but one through our connections through the United Way. And Annie Burrell of the Mobile Outreach, she's the Mobile Outreach Director of the Emergency Mental Health Overdose Response COVID COAD Liaison at Williamson County Emergency Services, a long title. She's coordinated masks, sanitizers, thermometers, food, clothing to thousands of people in our county. And she's one of many who's helped R.O.C.K. Putting that word out there has really helped us get the PPP that we needed, even to just be able to protect our own staff. Another great example of collaboration is Judy Frinstein. You may or may not know her, but she's coordinated thousands and thousands of meals the last 6 years for our veteran program, which serves meals to about 100 people every week. We have a co-ed program and then a women's program. Well, she coordinates those meals through partnerships in our community and also local people making food for the veterans. Well, with COVID and all of that being shut down, she has spent that time coordinating and partnering with some of the vendors that donated food and neighborhoods to help R.O.C.K. get the supplies it needs to run a safe operation. Just 2 examples of collaboration, of people going out of their way to help. Several years ago, when my friend and yours, Ron Swain, began Courageous Conversations, he wanted to collaborate with individuals from all vantage points on this tightwire. I've watched his patience as he has stayed the course in working towards justice for all. When I have quiet talks of our world and my journey in this, Ron reminds me, Nancy, what will you do? How will you help the children? He reminds me to look at the writings of the Messiah African leaders who greet each other with Kairan Inegra, how are the children? And when you reply that the children are good, life is good. It means that our daily struggles of existence do not preclude proper caring for our children, for the young. As citizens who believe in the Pledge of Allegiance, liberty and justice for all, maybe we could all agree to begin with the children. How are the children as we collaborate on improvements in our pandemic, civil rights, and political world? To collaborate, we must find a mutual common ground, and maybe looking at our children is the common ground we all need. I would like to pull a few points from the poem, All I Ever Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten by Robert Fulghum, as we focus on children. Share. I have another slide. Play fair. Don't hit people. Put things back where you found them. Clean up your own mess. Don't take things that are not yours. Say you are sorry when you hurt someone. Wash your hands before you eat. Flush. Live a balanced life. When you go out into the world, watch out for traffic and hold hands and stick together. Goldfish and hamsters and white mice and the little seed in the styrofoam cup will all die. and so do we. And lastly, remember the Dick and Jane book, and the first word was ever learned was look, the biggest word of all. This amazing essay has much to offer as we drill down into the wisdom of what really matters, what we teach our children, and the foundation of our collaboration. I especially love the ending, look, truly look at where people may be on this tightrope and try to understand why they are where they are and what you can do to help hold their hand as you go through this sway of COVID, politics, and social justice. Hold hands, help each other, share, clean up your own mess, including your own personal mess. Say you're sorry, wash your hands, and remember we are all going to die, so let's make this time count. There's also huge collaborations in nature. Nature is a huge teacher of this. The bees, the honey, the flowers, the moon, the ocean. The book, which I brought, Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerman, is talking about all different ways that nature collaborates. She talks about pecan trees. If one tree fruits, they all fruit. There are no soloists. Not one tree in a grove, but the whole grove. Not one grove in the forest, but all across the state. The trees act not as individuals, but somehow as a collective. Exactly how they do this, we don't know yet. But what we see is the power of unity. What happens to one happens to all. We can starve together, or we can feast together. All flourishing is mutual. Another example in nature is the horse. In my world, if you want to receive the gifts of the horse, you must follow basic horsemanship guidelines. Work with the staff and the rocketeers of R.O.C.K, and if you're riding, allow your body to move with the movements of the horse to receive the benefits, a form of collaboration, of horse and rider, and the team of usually 5 people that makes it all happen. In order for safety to occur, agreements must be made and followed consistently over and over again. And if a horse is not doing well that day, we have to look, we have to listen and make accommodations. What are the end goals of collaboration? Safety, strength, common goals, blending our different gifts and talents, and ultimately impact, or results, as they say in Baldrige. We need each other and we need collaboration. I also mentioned that collaboration occurs in our spiritual walk. And this is not meant to be a sermon, but I hope that you will have some grace for me as I share with you what has led me and helped me in collaboration. Many years ago, when I had a broken heart, Chuck Swindoll, who is a writer and pastor, shared that Romans 12 was the best book in the Bible for getting along with people. I'd like to share a summary of some of those points that have guided me through collaboration. Romans 12 first talks about dedicating your body as a living sacrifice. If you would imagine a picture of this as you dedicate your physical life and body to the good of others, it's pretty great advice. I have never known anyone who was truly happy that was self-focused. Offering yourself up is a happier way to live. It also says to renew your mind, not to the patterns of this world, and do not think of yourself more highly than you ought. I agree that our minds need to be renewed daily, sometimes moment by moment, and as we dedicate our physical lives and renew our minds, we become better people who can collaborate and have more to offer. It also says to use your gifts in collaboration with others. If your gift is teaching, teach. If your gift is encouraging, encourage. If your gift is giving generously, please give generously. And if it is to lead, lead diligently. And if it is to show mercy, do so cheerfully. These verses are a picture of how we all have different gifts and we need each other. Find your gift and do it well, and let others do theirs. Verse 9 goes on to say, love must be sincere. Hate what is evil, but cling to what is good. Be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourself. Never be lacking in enthusiasm. Be joyful in hope. Patient. in affliction, faithful in prayer. Share with people who are in need. Practice hospitality. Bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Mourn with those who mourn. Live in harmony with one another. Do not be proud, but be willing to associate with people of low position, and do not be conceited. Do not repay anyone evil for evil. Be careful to do what is right in the eyes of others. If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, think the golden rule, live at peace with others. Don't take revenge. If your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he or she is thirsty, give him something to drink. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. My friends, the golden rule and Romans 12 tell me all I need to know about collaboration. Together we are stronger, and we can overcome evil with good. We need each other, and despite of not being able to figuratively hold hands and hug, as you have opinions of COVID, social justice, race, and politics, can you offer space to others as they journey through this space and time, and also listen and look? Give a hand, a word of encouragement. Don't repay evil for evil. Bless and do not curse. Share. Open the door at the post office. Maybe collaboration is just a fancy word for sharing and holding hands. And remember, we may not have it all together, but together I think we do have it all. I realize that you may have thought about this talk about collaboration was from a business perspective, and I've spoken about my story and journey and the struggles of today. However, collaboration on a personal basis with others is the key to connection in business. Collaboration begins with one, it begins with you, and it begins with me. It begins with our ability to listen and look. I pray peace for each of you and kindness to yourself and those around you, and I pray for the collaboration of Romans 12, that it will speak to all of us. Let's make an impact on Georgetown. Let's listen. Let's recognize we have different gifts. Let's hold hands and give space on the different places each person is as we strive for hearing one another regarding COVID, race, and politics. So how do I collaborate? Look for others who have different gifts. Listen to the voices around you. Give your enemy a cup of water, because you may learn they are not your enemy and you can collaborate. Brene Brown recently stated that her mantra during this time is, I don't have to be right. I don't have to be right. I don't have to be right, but I want to get it right. It is a time for grace with action and great wisdom. We need each other. We may not have it all together, but together we do have it all. And I need you. Thank you very much.